Hey, you're V, yes?
Oh, fuck.
Today I want to talk about one of the lesser known gangs for those who have only played Cyberpunk 2077. One of my favorite gangs, the terrifying cyber clowns, the Bozos. We sort of have a glimpse in 2077 with Oza Bozo, but he's not officially one of the original Bozo gang members, so we'll touch base with that at the end of the video. Even if you have coulrophobia, a fear of clowns, the Bozos take that fear and turn it up to 11. The Bozos are a prankster gang, a type of gang that centers their activities around pranks, which is pretty straightforward until you find out firsthand that these pranks aren't on the level of a silly YouTube prankster. These pranks can be heinous and outright traumatizing, driving some victims insane. The Bozos go through extensive biosculpting, which is a highly advanced plastic surgery that can alter an individual to pretty much whatever they want to look like. The process of biosculpting can shift and transform bones, muscles, and skin, including animal-like features such as feathers or fur, creating whatever look the individual may want. I do want a quick note that in Cyberpunk 2077, they don't really touch base on exotics in the Cyberpunk world, but there are actually canonically people who go around the city and have probably way too many Euro dollars, and they spend a good amount trying to make themselves look almost alien or animal-like. So instead of looking like a cat person or maybe a giant bear, the Bozos opted into biosculpting themselves into clowns. These biosculpts often included permanent frowns on their faces and altering their feet to fit those large floppy clown shoes. So just imagine you take the shoes off of a clown and there's a mass of meat that'd fill the entire space. One big weird meat slab with some Vienna sausages attached at the end. When the Bozos first formed in the 2020s, they were fairly benign in their pranks and were mostly just an annoyance in Night City, most likely ranging in cheap scares or popping out from behind corners. Eventually, over the years, the pranks carried out by this crass crew grew more dangerous. They would torture and murder random Night City residents for their own sick entertainment. They also found the process of playing on people's fears and anxieties very enjoyable, and would even stalk victims for extended periods of time, lurking in their apartments in the dark, lock victims in tight spaces and release a gaggle of rats in that same space, stopping elevators midway and dumping large amounts of water inside, and repeatedly tormenting them until they snap and lose all sanity. The Bozos have been known to be active in the net as well, pulling even more of their pranks on unwary runners. Oddly enough, it was rumored that the leader during this time was a former research tech from the Arasaka Corp, and personally made cyberware for the gang. This, however, is never confirmed, and through the 2040s, the identity of the leader known as the Great Bozo is still a mystery. The Bozos tended to hang around the Night City University artist colony and would tend not to mess with anyone in that area during the 2020s. But going forward into the 2040s, or the time of the Red if you're familiar with the tabletop game, being on their turf is a very bad idea, and if you see a pack of Bozos, you best Delta the hell out of there. Sometime between the 2040s and the 2050s, the Bozos presumably vanished and little is seen from them. They still find themselves a topic of conversation amongst the citizens of Night City, however, which I could definitely see some parents using them as a means of getting their children to behave. Like, Johnny, eat your sin peas, or else the Bozos will visit you in your room tonight. Now I feel like we can't talk about the Bozos without at least mentioning one of my favorite NPCs from Cyberpunk 2077, Oza Bozo, or Bozo backwards Bozo. Ozab is actually never confirmed to be a part of the Bozos, and nothing really stands out as Bozo behavior from him other than the fact he blows up a storefront with V. Ozab isn't originally from Night City, and actually traveled there from Brazil. His most prominent feature being his grenade nose, which he is overly casual about and even cracks jokes about the dangers of picking his nose. Ozab lost his nose in a fight with his brother, who ripped it off with a pair of pliers. Afterwards, Ozab decided to not get a new nose biosculpted or chromed out, but rather inserted a grenade because
I think this matches my style more.
While he doesn't match the descriptions of the Bozos by behavior and acts mostly as a mercenary, it's hard to tell if he is a modernized version of the gang or not, but he definitely looks the part. The only problem is he's a pretty likable guy, and he's even excited to see you when you show up for a side quest to the side quest, beat on the brat, or you engage in deadly fisticuffs with him and his nose. whereas the actual Bozos I feel will be going out of their way to attempt to terrorize V and probably look more along the lines of John Wayne Gacy, or if you're familiar with the clown from Dead by Daylight. Unfortunately, not much else is known about the Bozos, and we don't really see any other signs of them in Cyberpunk 2077. However, Mike Pondsmith has hinted at the fact that Ozab is presumably a member of the Bozos gang, but we'll have to wait and find out more either in the DLC or probably the next Cyberpunk game. I don't know about you guys, but there's something really cool about the concept of a cyberpunk or futuristic clown, although it's... Would you ever want the Bozos included in future Cyberpunk titles, or would you rather they stay wherever they vanished off to? Personally, I'd be pretty excited to have them in a game. I think the actual concept of them would be really fun to explore in a video game setting, but until we actually get another Cyberpunk game, most likely we probably won't see any signs of them till then. However, in games of Cyberpunk Red, the tabletop RPG version of Cyberpunk, I'm gonna try and write some cool little encounters with them. I think you could do a lot of fun little scream sheet encounters, or just little short beat charts where something around the actual Bozos, like maybe they kidnap the players and start messing with them, or maybe something like a slow burn where you slowly introduce them over time and keep getting more and more intensified scares, and maybe lead up to a kidnap torture session, which sounds a bit grim, but I mean, Cyberpunk isn't exactly the happiest setting. Anyway, thank you again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to drop a like and a comment down below. Also, let me know what else you want me to cover on Cyberpunk lore. I think I'm going to move forward doing the corporate wars and just a general history of Night City, which probably would have been a better place to start doing my lore series on, but I couldn't help myself going straight into Maelstrom and the Bozos, as they are my favorite sort of cast of characters in the Cyberpunk universe. But with that, take care of yourselves out there. I'll see you later, chooms.